features with Livingston and Tangela too, and our host Vincent Van Dahl, and he brings it to ya. Creature features and all creatures and all features, and the creature gonna get you tonight. You better not turn out your bedroom light. He'll grab your head and give it such a bite. You may even die, just from a fright. You ain't nothing gonna be, baby. You ain't nothing gonna be alright. Cause the creature gonna get you, baby. Gonna get you tonight.
Please cease with your childish antics. I must perform my introductory duties, and you are intruding upon that objective. Furthermore, you are neither a member of the paparazzi, nor at all versed in the operation of that camera. Is that my Leica?
It appears to be, yes.
I keep that locked inside of my safe.
She cracked the lock combination months ago when she needed money to purchase that antique Maschinengewehr Modell 3 machine gun she came across on Craigslist.
Impressive. Welcome to Creature Features. I'm your host, Vincent. The safe-cracking amateur photographer over to this side would be the otherwise charming Miss Tangela. And the man stood front and left of center would be my dashing and energetic butler, the incontestably refined Mr. Livingston. And we have an absolutely superb program in store just for you. First, our guest will be joined by legendary rock and roll photographer Tom Gundelfinger. He's photographed every great name in the music business and...
Funny he's never photographed you.
I really don't know how in God's name I put up with the both of you. Tom will tell us about his storied career in the rock music photography business, show us some of his most legendary snapshots, and tell us the tales behind each one. All while we take in a fantastic film from 1976 entitled Mayday at 40,000 Feet, starring Ray Milland.
That's not a horror film, nor is it science fiction.
I bloody well know that, but it is suspenseful and terrifying and spine-chilling and petrifying, without the need for goblins, monsters, murderers, ghosts, nor maniacs. Besides, what could be more ghastly than boarding a commercial airline in this day and age? Starring Ray Milland, David Jansen, Linda Day George, we think you'll find this film to be an enjoyable departure from the usual spook fest we dole out here weekly on Creature Features. So don't go away, for it is to be another night of high-altitude fright, right here on Creature Features. Stay tuned. Tom Gundelfinger, do you know that our viewers, instead of watching our tripe, could switch over to Channel 44 and watch Royal Wedding with Fred Astaire and Jane Powell?
Well, Jane Powell is in this movie.
In the movie we're showing tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then forget that film. Welcome to Creature Features. It's going to be another fun night because we've got Tom Gundelfinger. I need to ask you about your name. He's a famous photographer, but before we get into the photography, how in God's name did you get such a wonderful name?
Well, I was born with Gundelfinger.
Right.
That was my name for a number of years. I was into my 30s.
Right.
And when I married Molly O'Neill, we'd been married for a while, and we found out we were going to have a child, a boy.
Right.
And I just thought, growing up in California, it was not fun having that name. A 14-year-old kid can take the name like Gundelfinger and get really...
Okay.
So I just said, I can't do this to this kid. So my wife and I went back and forth, and I finally said, I'll take your name. Molly O'Neill is a beautiful name.
No,
So
that's
I
nice.
became Tom Gundelfinger O'Neill. Well, it sounded like a United Nations name then.
Right, right.
So I just shortened it to Tom G. O'Neill and TGO Photography.
Nice. That's simpler that way, right?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Because I built a whole career as
On-
Tom Gundelfinger. If you Google Tom Gundelfinger, you'll get a whole series of rock and roll photos.
Right.
If you Google Tom O'Neill, you'll get much more contemporary, even to today.
How fun. It's
So-
like an alias now.
A split personality.
Almost. All right, all right. So should I be calling you Tom O'Neill or Tom Gundelfinger?
Uh,
I have an idea. What I shall do is I will jump between the two. So one moment I might call you Tom Gundelfinger, and next I'll call you Tom O'Neill, and then sometimes I might call you Mr. Gundelfinger or Mr. O'Neill or Mr. Tom. Dr. Tom. I'll call you Dr. Tom.
that works.
Enough silliness. You do photography. You've done amazing photography. No, incredible. I was looking through your book, and you've photographed everyone.
I have. A
Everyone
lot of people.
famous, not everyone on earth.
Not everyone on earth, but yeah, I've had some great experiences. Photography has been a fantastic career. I've had a lot of fun. I've met some amazing people, and it's still going on. I mean, I got things going on Sunday.
That's great.
We just came back from London on a shoot, so
Well, you know, it's a good thing that you did not start your career as like a weightlifter, right? Because that would be difficult to do now, whereas now cameras are becoming smaller and lighter as well, too, so that's nice. All right, we're going to watch Mayday at 40,000 feet. Have you seen this film before?
I did.
You did?
I saw it in 1976. It was made for TV.
When it actually was broadcast.
Yeah, and I was a fan of Broderick Crawford because I always loved Highway Patrol.
Oh,
and he starred in that.
Right.
And Marjo Gortner, the guy that's, you know, the
Right.
murderer and all
Right.
that, he was, I think, the youngest evangelical preacher ever. And they made
I
a
read
film,
something about
Marjo, on that. And
Right.
the producer on that was a friend of mine, and we worked together on other projects. So I knew all about Marjo. And of course, David Jensen, and and Ray Milland. I went to school
Right.
with Ray Milland's kids. So I wanted to see the movie.
How fun.
Then.
Well, good. Now, it's not horror, and it's not sci-fi, but the story behind this film, why we're running this film, is last year we were planning to have Linda Day George on the show, and we had made all the arrangements, and then some kind of scheduling conflict occurred with her, and she couldn't make it. And we got cleared on this film, and it's just been sitting here, so we thought, Tom Gundelfinger would probably like this film.
Absolutely.
And here we go. So we're going to run this film without Linda Day George, but, you know, I think Tom's got nicer legs, maybe. No?
You really want to see him?
Nicer
No.
shoes. All right, well, let's start this film. When we get back, we're going to look at some of your photos, right?
Awesome.
All right, off we go to Mayday at 40,000 feet. Do not go away because this movie is a good one, I think. Bye. Welcome back to Creature Features. If you're just joining us, you're very late, but it's forgivable, right? They just missed a tiny portion of the film. We are with Tom Gundelfinger O'Neill,
Thank you.
or Tom O'Neill, a famous photographer of rock and roll personalities, concerts, Monterey Pop. I want to get into that. But this film, do you know the entire airport scene thing was filmed at LAX?
Yeah.
Well, you know, you think they'd do something more exotic. Everything's filmed at LAX.
Well, it was a different time. Remember, they could get away with a lot more.
Oh, is that it? Why? All right. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Anyways, how did you get your start in doing this?
Well, I was basically in 1967. I was a fine art major, and I had studied principally painting and design. A little bit of photography, not much. And I was struggling really, what was I going to do? And in the spring of 67, in Carmel, California, I walk into a record store, and I start flipping through the albums, and I pull out this one, and it's the Mamas and Papas, We Deliver. And they're in a swimming pool drinking out of a cowboy hat. Yeah.
I know
and
this
the
album.
water is, and they're doing that. And I
Right.
looked at them, I said, wow, it's animated, it has energy, it's bleeds the corn. I could do this. I had this epiphany moment, really.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And I flipped it over. Who are these guys? I want to be them. I didn't even buy the album.
Right.
Put it back in there, walked outside, and I can still remember it. And I go, great. What are you going to do?
Now what?
I don't know
Right.
anybody in a rock and roll
Right.
band. But a little bit of serendipity. A few weeks later, I saw something in the Monterey Herald that there was going to be this Monterey Pop Festival coming. And that the producers, one of the guys, oddly, was the lead of the Mamas and Papas, and their producer, Lou Adler, who produced Rocky
Right.
or a picture show later on.
Right.
Wonderful guy. They were going to be in town, and they were going to go to meet with the mayor and the chief of police. And they even gave the time. So I figured, well, if I want to do this, I've got to go for it, and I need to get close to the stage, and I need credentials.
Right.
So I found the time. I took a picture out of Playboy magazine of the Mamas and Papas. I did my own effect to it because it was the days of psychedelia. I wasn't trying to plagiarize anything. I
Right.
gave the photographer credit, but I wanted Lou Adler and John, I wanted them to relate to something. You know, I wanted them to look at something they
Of
could
course.
relate to.
Right.
So at 3 o'clock, the big limo pulls out, and the guys come out, and here comes Lou, and here comes John, 6'7", with this big fur hat and all that. And you can imagine trying to do this today. And as Lou Adler walks by, I go, hey, Lou, check this out. And he looks at it and he goes, wow, come on in. So
That's wonderful.
I follow him in, and 2 minutes later, I'm standing next to Michelle Phillips, and I'm watching these two guys, kind of knock it out with the mayor, a retired librarian, Minnie Coyle, and the chief of police. And this woman thought that the Hells Angels and the hippies were exactly the same thing.
Right.
So there was this tension that was always going on. Anyway, I got in. Through that one instant, I got all my press credentials and all the passes I needed, and I photographed the Monterey Pop Festival.
One of the most famous concerts of the 60s, right?
Well, that started it all. That was number
Right.
one, the first. There had never been a 3-day concert of rock and roll.
And this is the one where Jimi Hendrix was.
Absolutely.
Right.
The last
Oh,
night.
goodness.
And when he came out on stage, nobody knew who he was.
Right.
And when he left,
Everyone.
it changed his life forever.
Right. And yours too. We're going to learn more about that, but first we got to get back to the film, which is Mayday at 40,000 feet. It's got to get better, right?
It's intense.
It's kind of slow. It's a lot
No,
of
it's a
personal-
slow build.
All right.
It
all right.
gets intense, though.
All right, off we go. We will see you on the other side of the break. See you soon.
This is Livingston, and you're watching Creature Features. Not now. Stay tuned. This portion of Creature Features is brought to you by CreatureFeatureStore.com, the official merchandiser of Creature Feature accessories.
Oh, look, Tenja, you've been looking for a new automobile, right? Look, this is the Ford LTD. You should get one of these. Yeah, you could fit all kinds of animals in the back of this. Speaking of which, where did this one come from?
It seems John Provost has lost his dog.
No, are you like babysitting the dog?
Does he know that?
It would appear not.
I thought not.
If he rings us, you tell him the dog's fine. Anyways, welcome back to the show. Letters time, because if we don't do letters, bad things happen to everyone, right?
Like what?
Well, I will yell at you because we did not do mail. You will yell at me for making you do mail. And it's just all out chaos, right?
Indeed.
All right, give me a letter, Mr. Livingston.
It's one from Margaret.
Margaret. I love that name. Margaret. Rasmussen. Where's that from?
Hard to say.
It's like
Scotland,
the Netherlands,
I think.
right? Sweden?
Scotland?
No, it's Sweden, I think. Anyways, okay, let's see. Intro question. Love your show every week. During your intro that has different snippets of movies, there is a floating ghost woman screaming as she moves towards the camera. It's just before the Carrie scene. What movie is that screaming ghost from? That is from Dark Shadows, and there's a number of clips
From Dark
in our
Shadows.
intro from Dark Shadows. And secret thing, if you turn on closed captions,
Yes.
right, during our introduction,
It will
the
tell
names of all the films come up underneath. And it's like it's an Easter egg. I'm told that they're called an Easter egg.
But it's not Easter.
I know it's not Easter. That's why I don't know why it's not an egg either. So who knows? Anyways, thanks for writing, Margaret, and hope you have fun with that film. Next up, Mr. Livingston.
Lance Schmidt.
Oh, that's a nice name. You know, I bet you he's a knight or something like that.
No, it's a worker's name.
It's a worker's name. All right. Well, a knight is a worker. He works for
He puts
the king.
shoes on horses and things like that. Smithy.
Lance Schmidt, greetings with a suggestion. Hello to all at Polter Mansion, and a big hello to Bodega Bay residents from Manitoba, Canada. I've been there, have you?
No.
It's a nice place. I happened by accident to your YouTube site and have been binge watching these classic horror films for over a month now, perhaps even longer, as one loses track of all reality when binge watching. You know, this whole thing about binge watching did not exist 20 years ago. What is it? Is this like a new phenomenon?
Well, you can see more episodes of things at once now.
Oh, it's been an improvement in technology that created this.
You don't have to wait a week or two.
I don't know if it's a good thing, right? I mean, this poor bloke, he lives in Manitoba. He should be out hunting moose
Moose.
or whatever types
Elk
of squirrels that they have in elk.
Elk.
Elk would be nice. Anyways, he goes on. I absolutely love the programs and hosts and your guests. I have a request. If you can possibly get the chance to air it, it's a movie I saw many years ago and have not been able to find again since. It was released in 1991 and stars Norman Fell and Phyllis Diller, an unlikely cast for a horror movie, and it's called The Boneyard. I'm sure many of your fans would like to see this movie. Thanks and all the best. Keep up what you're doing. It's great. Lance Schmidt. So, The Boneyard, have you heard of this film?
I have not.
Are we going to look into it for Lance?
Of course.
Because it would not be right to not pursue a request from somebody named Lance. It's Lancelot, right?
That's a thought.
Right? He's Lancelot. That's probably that Lance is a short name. Thanks for writing, Lance. Next up, Mr. Livingston. It's got a package.
Package.
A full-blown package parcel post. What we got? Oh, it's got a letter. Is that dog all right? You know, maybe he wants to go home to his mother. No? It's a cute little thing. All right, dear, who's this from? Bradford Grant Boyle. The man's got 3 last names.
Indeed.
That's interesting. Bradford Grant Boyle. Dear Vincent Tenjo Livingston, Bob Wilkins was popular in Salt Lake City too. See enclosed book, fresh off the printing press. All right, let's take a look at this book. Written by Bradford Grant Boyle, of all people. Isn't that a coincidence?
Quite a
The
coincidence.
person who wrote this book is the same one who sent it to us. What are the odds of that?
You never cease to astound me.
Right, I try not to. All right, look at this. Oh, this is fantastic. So it's a book with mostly, what do we have here? It's looks like TV guide ads and posters, and this is like a database of all kinds of horror films and things like that, and he bookmarked something here. What do we got? Creature features, right? I know the show, the 1970s version, and it says, often no second feature is listed. It's unknown if Double Nightmare. I don't know what's going on here. Anyways, he's got a wonderful book. Anyways, look for this in your local Barnes and Noble store, right?
Of course.
Because they sell books. And this is a book written by a man with 3 last names.
3 last names.
All right, last one.
One more. From
Last.
Castro Valley, California.
You know, these poor people want to get back to the film, and you keep giving me mail.
That's what we're supposed to do.
No, we're supposed to serve films, not write-ins.
Once again.
Enough. All right. Dear Creature Features, your show is pretty good. It's fairly stupid as well, but it is still pretty good. I was recently in Bodega Bay on business and made a half-hearted attempt to locate your Polter mansion. There was nothing that looked remotely close on my car's GPS. Seemed odd that I couldn't find such a large manor in such a small village. All of the locals I inquired with claimed they didn't know where it was. Every one of them seemed to be lying. What's up with that? James Bennett, Castro Valley, California. All right, James. So on your GPS maps, so there's a company called Google that takes care of most of the map creation.
They do that.
Right. And I was once a very large shareholder with Google, and I asked them to erase the house. No, it became problematic. People would show up trying to sell us Mercedes-Benz and things like this. They see a big house, and they're like, oh, let's go to this big house with a Mercedes, and we will try to sell them. And I already have a Mercedes, so it became a problem. So there's that. And then all the locals I inquired with claimed they didn't know where it was. Every one of them seemed to be lying. They're not lying. They're just being paid by me.
Being private.
To not forego that information. So that is what is up with that. Thank you, James, for writing. Next time you're in town, give us a call. Right?
They can call us.
That's right. All right, that's it for letters. If you'd like to send us a letter of your own, go to hellocreaturefeatures.com. It's a website that has a listing of things like how to send us an email, how to send us a book in the mail, or if you'd like to send us a very large fruit basket, you'd find out how to do that there as well. We'll be right back with Mr. Tom Gundelfinger, but first let's get back to Mayday at 40,000 feet.
Hello, this is Mr. Livingston. It would appear that I have been tasked yet again to deliver another plea intended to separate you from your hard-earned money. This program now has its own channel and associated apps that allow you to watch the entire Creature Features library and much more. Entitled Creature Features TV, this is a system that works much like Netflix or Hulu. Besides early access to all the new Creature Features episodes, you'll also have access to many other offerings and some archival episodes of the original show with Mr. Bob Wilkins. You'll also have exclusive access to a new Creature Feature show that will be introduced soon and will not be available anywhere else. Your generous but modest monthly subscription fee will also greatly assist in the continued production of the show, so there's that as well. Miss Tangela has asked me to inform you that if you subscribe to Creature Features TV, she will be sure to create more dancing videos just for you. I think not. So please visit www.creaturefeaturestv.com to learn more. Thank you for your time.
And we are back. If you're just joining us, we are with photographer Tom Gundelfinger O'Neill. Why don't you hyphenate it?
I go by Tom G. O'Neill most of the time.
I like that. No, that sounds hip. That sounds good. This film that we're watching, Mayday at 40,000 feet, did you know that this is considered one of the most accurate aviation fictional films ever made?
Really?
By airline people. Because I suppose they had a good consultant who said, all right, say this and push this button when this occurs and
Well, there
things
is
of that
something
sort.
coming up at the end. I'm not going to blow it for anybody, but it...
I've not seen this film, so do
it's,
not spoil it for
it
me.
gets intense, yeah. And I imagine, and it's in the cockpit, so there's got to be a lot of technical stuff going on.
No, well, if they filmed most of it at LAX, I suppose they had access to the people who would know.
Exactly.
This book,
Yeah.
Gundelfinger, From Monterey Pop to Deja Vu and Beyond. This is amazing. And you took this shot.
I took that shot. It's the cover of
This
Crosby,
is,
Stills,
I
and
know
Nash
this
Young,
band.
Deja Vu.
Who's this band? I know this bloke. Who is this?
That's David Crosby right there.
And it's Crosby, Stills, and Nash, or just Crosby?
No, it's Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
Oh, Neil Young is in there? Which one's
Yeah.
Neil Young?
He's over towards the left. Yeah, that's
Oh,
Neil.
he is young in this. He's not
Yeah.
Neil Young anymore, I'll tell you that much. No, he looks good in this one. So, Jimi Hendrix, we're going to put a big one up here. You took the shot,
Absolutely. I took
of
all.
course, right?
Yeah.
And this is incredible. So this is like at the Monterey Pop Festival, right?
Absolutely.
And this is the one that sort of launched his career, right? That concert.
Well, that's the concert where he burned his guitar, yeah. And that it was rather significant. Nobody had ever done that live on stage.
Right.
And the way he did it was extraordinary because nobody knew it was coming, number one. And he had been up by the amps and he had been kind of gyrating in front of the amps. And then he turns around and he throws his guitar towards the front of the stage. And then he kind of slides right up to it and pulls out a can of Ronson lighter fluid and goes, sprinkles the guitar, and then with one match, poof, like that. You ever tried to light a barbecue with one match?
You know, I
Yeah.
don't do that. I let
It was-
Tangela do these things.
It was
She's a pyromaniac. If I need something on fire, I talk to her.
well. It was seamless, and it was like it had been choreographed and rehearsed many times, and yet it was totally live. He leans back, and he.
I
gives
don't
this-
see a photo of this occurrence.
That's right. That's right.
That
It
moment, you
happened on the
reloading
right
your
side of the
film.
stage. No. Well, first of all, nobody knew it was coming.
Right.
And I was on the wrong side of the stage. And Noel Redding, the bass player, his legs were right in front of me, and the mic stands.
You know,
And-
bass players are always doing that. I
Yeah.
was in a band, and there's always a bass player's leg in your face. You know, you're trying to do something, a solo, a singer, something, bass player's leg in your face. So, yeah. If you're a bass player, keep your leg out of people's faces, right?
Well, he caused a problem for me.
He did, but however, you have an entire book here of wonderful, wonderful shots. There's so many people in here, I can't even name them all. So let me pick one here. So this is just a bloke in the audience, right?
That's a bloke in the audience, but the one, you're going to love this, the one where your hand is,
Yes, this
that's
one.
Tiny Tim.
Oh, I know him. I don't know him personally, but
Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
right. No.
Yeah. He's no longer with us, but he still has a following. He was phenomenal.
No, he's incredible.
Nobody ever had come out and...
Did you ever have the opportunity to meet him?
Yeah, I met him backstage.
And is he like that?
Yes,
Always.
exactly.
You know, some of these personalities, I don't know what to make of it. So a Tiny Tim, and then who's the screaming person?
Okay, that's a personality down in L.A. That's Gypsy Boots.
Gypsy Boots.
That's Gypsy Boots. He had a radio show. He had quite a following, and he was crazy.
No, obvious. Oh, I know this man,
Yeah.
Jim Morrison. It's wonderful. All right. Well, I'm getting the signal. We got to get back to the film. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about your storied career. Right?
I would love to.
All right. Off we go. Mayday at 40,000. What does that in meters?
Wow.
I
I'd say
don't know.
39 inches.
40,000 feet. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
To my three favorite ghouls, you guys have the best show on TV. All the movies you pick are great and ghoulish. Vincent and Tangela, Love both of you. And my favorite, but got to love all the Creature Features. Thank you from Steve from Tarpon Springs, Florida.
Hello, this is Livingston. Apparently, one of my newly acquired domestic duties is to request help for our show financially by asking you to visit our Patreon page. Your generosity will help keep Creature Features on the air, which I'm not entirely sure is a good thing. However, with only a few dollars a month from you, your kindness will allow us to continue creating new programming each week, which apparently some of you curiously enjoy. And should you have the desire to give even more, you might even receive a gift from Miss Tangela. I think not. Please visit the website below to learn more. Thank you.
Famous photographer Tom. Who does your hair?
I do.
With
Well,
scissors?
I do have a stylist that I see that my wife goes to as well. So
You go at the same time?
Yep. I used to have hair like that. By the
No,
way.
old married people do that. You're too young to practice this behavior.
Yeah. No.
And don't go to the same hairstylist as your wife, or else you'll end up looking the same. You know how old couples look the same?
We're not an old couple.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't want you to look like one.
No, never going to happen.
All right, welcome back to the show. We are watching Mayday at 40,000 feet, which is a title far too long for me to say, just like your name is far too long for me to say. But we are with Tom Gundelfinger O'Neill, which is easier to say than Mayday at 40,000 feet. I'm just going to say we're watching Mayday, right?
And you're talking to Tom.
You know that's French, Mayday?
Really?
Yes, because it's not May Day as in the day in May. It's Mayday, which means help me. True story. It's French.
C'est vrai.
C'est très bien.
C'est bon ça.
C'est bon. Tu parles français?
Oui,
Je
je
parle
parle français. J'y
You know,
habité à Paris.
living so close to those people, you got to learn the language because they're always coming over. And anyway, so we were talking about your photography and your concert that you did, Monterey Pops Festival, that launched his career as a famous rock photographer. But what I don't comprehend and understand is how you went from just shooting one singular concert to doing all these famous people and things and album covers.
Well, it was
How
3
did you
days.
jump the Rubicon?
The big thing was a very close friend of mine knew the manager of the Byrds and David Crosby. And
Right.
she said, she found out I was going to the concert, and she said, if you get pictures of David Crosby and the Byrds, but David Crosby in particular, I'll make sure the pictures go to L.A. And they did. I got a phone call. I went down there. I got hired to shoot a child star, Brandon DeWilde, who was much older then.
Right.
And their managers, they thought the pictures were great, and then one thing led to another. And while I was in the office there, I did meet David Crosby. We connected right away. We remained friends right up to the end. And his voice stayed beautiful the entire time. An incredible person, and he had a fantastic, amazing influence on rock and roll. It was really because of him that all the folk groups went electric.
Right.
And he and Dylan were kind of the innovators of that. But I also met, in that same office, some people involved with Steppenwolf. And I eventually got to photograph them and also design their album covers.
How
And
wonderful.
Those were pretty good. Some of your viewers would probably really like some of those albums. The 7 album, has 2 giant skulls right on the cover.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I did a live album that was supposed to be a live wolf coming right at you, and that was a little difficult to have a wolf coming at me and shoot it.
Right.
So we used a dead wolf, but it's very convincing.
Like a stuffed, like
It was
taxidermy.
it was
right.
a wolf rug, and the
Oh,
head
how
was
nice.
completely very, very scary looking, and that's the cover.
Oh, wonderful.
And that's a big album. It's gone all over the world. It's been reproduced many times. They made their logo out of that. So
How wonderful.
it was great. Working with them, particularly Jerry Edmonton, the drummer, he was extremely creative, and he had that sense, well, put it this way, he had 200 skulls. He had a collection of that many. He was fascinated by the macabre and all that. And so we implemented that in some of the album covers. It was
How
fun.
wonderful. We say we get back to this film, and when we come back, we're going to hear about what you're doing in the current century, as opposed to the last one, and we'll go from there. Back to Mayday at 40,000 feet. We will see you on the other side of the break. Welcome back to Creature Features. You know, I would think that these people would have something better to do on a Saturday night than watch all silliness. But we appreciate you being here. Yeah, maybe they could take up photography,
They might.
right? That's something Tom Gundelfinger does, and he's done it quite well back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. But what are you doing in the 21st century?
I'm still shooting.
Still shooting after
Still
all these
doing
years.
it. Still going click. I just got back from London about 3 weeks ago. We lived down in
What's it like? No, I've not been back in some time. Is it changed?
It's great. You should see the skyline. All the new buildings they have names for. The walkie-talkie, the can of ham,
like-
the lipstick, the
right.
cheese grater.
Like Monica's.
Yeah,
Right,
it's London's a fantastic town.
It is. Do they still call Big Ben Big Ben?
Yeah, but that's Big Ben's old school.
No, I know it's old school.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's-
Big Ben. Yeah, he's there.
It's still called Big Ben.
It's
they
still
didn't
called
call
Big
it
Ben.
like the bell ringer or something like that.
No, it's
right?
still Big Ben, and it's fantastic to see that.
So what were you doing there?
I was photographing, and I should say we, because my wife and I work together. We were photographing a huge event for a corporate group. And,
Corporate work. There's
and
big
they're-
money in that.
Yeah,
Right.
it pays some bills.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, is your wife a photographer as well?
She's a good photographer, but she does all the editing.
Post.
And takes care of the whole business. I
Right.
basically shoot and give everything
She
to her.
does Photoshop.
She does Photoshop and
Photoshop.
and Lightroom very, very well.
Right.
Molly O'Neill.
Has she
She's the
played
best.
with Midjourney? Oh, it's wonderful. I've been making some wonderful images just using words.
Wow.
It's fantastic. We'll talk after.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're doing that. What else?
Well, there's Car Week coming up.
Car Week.
Yeah, Car Week on the Monterey Peninsula is a
Oh,
big, big deal.
right.
And it's basically the Concourse d'Elegance of Pebble Beach. And there's several big tours that go on. There's
Oh, how
races.
fun.
And we shoot for Rolex. We've been doing that for about 20 years. And they're a big sponsor
Right.
of many of the events. And
Right.
we've got to cover the whole thing from shooting the cars as well as the
Now, you
celebrities.
live down there, right?
We live in Carmel Valley.
Oh, nice. So that's just an easy trip. It's not like jetting off to London to shoot the cheese grater, right?
Yeah.
You get to rub elbows with people with Ferraris and things like this, right?
Exactly.
Nice. How's the weather down there this time of year?
It's been a little on the cool side.
Nice. You're so
Yeah,
lucky.
kind of like in here by the ocean.
I don't know why you're cold. I am dying here. It's 100 degrees outside. All right, let's finish up this film. And when we come back, we're going to find out how we can order your book and all that fun stuff, right? Off we go to the end of Mayday at 40,000 feet. Don't go away because the movie's going to end and we're going to have Tangella here. So if you see the credits roll for the movie, that does not mean our show is over. It means we're coming back with Tangella and more info from Tom, right? Off we go. See you soon. And that brings the landing gear down on Mayday at 40,000 feet. You know, I didn't think he was going to make it in that snowy runway thing.
It was intense.
No, if I was behind the wheel of that plane, no, they would have gone into like another airport, like from one to the other. Anyways, you like the film though?
Yeah.
Is it good? Is it as good as it was the first time you watched it?
Well, I knew it was coming, so it was more fun. I enjoyed it.
But it doesn't seem dated in a way to watch these films.
Yes.
It's like, and you know, you watched it back then, and it was like, oh, it's such a modern film.
Yeah.
Look at this, and then you watch it now, and it's like, oh, we used to wear pants like that.
Yeah.
Funny. All right. Anyways, how do people order one of these books?
Well, you can get it off the website.
The website, which is
tgophoto.com.
tgophoto.com. Couldn't
and
be
you
easier.
can go to Rockbook, and you can also see.
Now, do these come directly from you, or do they come from like Amazon? Or something?
No. Right from me. And
you will autograph.
I will autograph. Even if they want something written personally to them, I will do that.
So you could write, "Dear Vincent, you are the best photographer I've ever met. I wish you were around to teach me in the 60s." You would write that?
I would write something like that.
And then at the bottom you'd put, "But it's only a lie." No. And then what else can we get at this website? Photos, like 8x10s or anything like this?
Yeah, you can order prints, and I also have contemporary photos. I have a full portfolio, a commercial portfolio, but I have an artistic portfolio as well. It's a good site.
Right.
You should check it out.
All right, I'm going to go check it out tonight. All right, and then that's it for you, and more adventures and more good things to do. Next time you're in town, you're going to come see us, right?
I would love to.
We hope so. Well, thank you for coming, and you've been a wonderful guest. As far as you guys go, thank you so much for watching our program. We know you could have been watching that Fred Astaire film on Channel 44, but instead you stayed here with us, and for that reason, we adore you to no end. We'll see you next week with a different movie, different guest. Don't know who, don't know what, but it will be fun. See you next time. So, Tom, you know, I'm kind of wondering, you know, you were active during the 80s and 90s when my band was happening. Why didn't you ever photograph us?
You were in a band?